It had been 2 years since Frieza had made planet Earth his home. He still ventured outside of the system on business once in a while but mostly found himself there. Goku had bugged him to start training again as soon as the little one was out in the world, but Kai had always been there to put a stop to it. He could begrudgingly agree that she had her uses, especially controlling Goku. Speaking of the little one, Frieza was oddly proud of the little being that had come from him and Goku. Frieza was small and resembled Frieza's first form but lacked the horns he once proudly had. The child had brown orbs where he would have purple but still possessed those piercing eyes that he had. Goku had been the most excited but mostly because he had detected the child's strength, and before the little one had woken, he was already planning on training and such. Frieza did agree with Goku on that one thing though. He already loved this child, but the first form lacked elegance and grace. The faster Goku or that Namekian trained the child to reach the final form the better. Piccolo had shown up and didn't seem too surprised on the surface, but inside he was shocked, to say the least. He knew Goku's attitude and how somehow he always worked to get even some of the bad guys on his side, but this was definitely different, to say the least. He had felt Frieza's eyes on him the whole time, hovering over him like a mother hen who could blow up planets, especially when Goku had abruptly handed the child over to him to take a look. See, you can feel it too, right, Piccolo? Just feel that key signature. Piccolo did agree because the waves of energy he could detect coming off the child wasn't anything to scoff at. Frieza, as you decided to call this child, Goku possesses enough potential to pass both you and Frieza. Even Gohan had been shaken out of his shock as he approached the child too. He was nervous as he glanced toward his dad and Frieza, who just scoffed, looking away. But the smile that he got from his dad was enough for him to have the final push to look at the baby. He had been surprised when during his survival training in the wild Piccolo had suddenly appeared saying it's time he went to meet his baby brother. That had struck him as a surprise because he didn't remember his mom saying anything about a baby. When they got there, he had been shocked when from the sky as they hover over the house next to the castle he had seen Frieza holding something. No, someone. When they landed, Goku immediately burst forth with a smile on his face. Hey Gohan, get over here. The half Saiyan had approached cautiously as Goku stepped aside to the waiting Frieza with his mother right behind him. That's when the baby had peeked out of the bundle it was tucked in and glanced at him. You're going to be a big brother, Goku had said behind him, causing time to stop. They waited for him to react, but he seemed frozen, much to the amusement of Frieza and worry of Kai as she ran to shake him. Seems as if you broke him, Goku, Frieza said with a smile as they approached the Namekian, who seemed as unbothered as usual. But Frieza had learned from Goku there were ways you could get under his skin. Gohan shook his head, remembering those events as he took a closer look at the baby. It was so small and unlike Frieza. Not scary at all. He would have to say cute, and that he was now a big brother. The look of shock slowly melted from his face as it was replaced with an ever-growing smile before he snatched the baby from Piccolo. He looked at the baby in his arms. His name is Frieza said, startling Gohan, but not enough for him to let go of the baby. Frieza, he repeated the name as if testing it out. The baby just giggled at him, which seemed to brighten his spirits as he started running around with the giggling Frieza. Frieza was the most surprised at the boy's reaction. Out of the majority of them, he thought the spawn of Goku would be the most hostile, but it seemed he calculated it wrongly. I would advise we not tell Vegeta of our new addition, Frieza said nonchalantly as he checked his fingers. Vegeta's reaction wouldn't be so kind, he said, but that was not the real reason, as Frieza really wanted to see the look on Vegeta's face when he presented the child to him. Everyone agreed that Vegeta should know, not really knowing the reason Frieza had suggested it in the first place. A thing Frieza had noticed was this planet's gravity was seemingly very weak, which had surprised him since Goku had come from here. It was rather different from his home world. I want to start Frieza on training as soon as possible, I fear he will grow weak with this planet's gravity. But isn't he a bit too young, Frieza? Goku asked, seemingly what everyone had in mind. No, quite the opposite actually. I was born on a planet with much greater gravity than this. As such, that is why when he was still within me I spent all that time in the gravity chamber. That made some sense to Goku. Become often Frieza would disappear throughout the day and come back as if nothing ever happened. He never would have guessed that it was a form of training for their unborn child. Oh, so your planet had a high gravity, so that's why you said you never had to train. Goku says, then turns to Piccolo. You and Gohan should get one of those gravity ships from Bulma. They're real handy. Frieza just watched as the two spiraled into talking about whose training was better and what that was. But Frieza's eyes just kept locked on Gohan, the big brother that was now running around with Frieza so excitedly. There was an odd fulfillment in